Good morning, Wez.
Good morning, Yann. How are we?
What a lovely question. Yeah, I'm here, aren't I? How are you, Wez?
Not shocked.
Yes. So 12 hours after our last video, with the excitement of being on for over 4 hours discussing all the white hot transfer news, the incomings and outgoings at Finch Farm and Goodison Park, we are here. Just under an hour to go before kick-off at Bramall Lane. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on Follow Everton. Thank you to the regulars, any new people. Do hit the like, subscribe, notify, all these kind of things. And try not to be freaked out by the green screen logo of Chang in the middle there. Looking like we're a bit hollow, just like Everton's signings from last night. Yeah.
I just read something before. We have only got 15 first team players that are fit.
Well, that probably makes sense as to why we've got, well, obviously Pickford's playing, but we've got Virginia and Lonergan on the bench, just in case we have a sort of calamitous series of goalkeeper injuries.
Yeah, well, you know, he might be able to play up front.
So, yeah, we are here less than an hour to kick off. So that means that we have the excited, or should I say dreaded, team news. But, yeah. So obviously Pickford's in goal. We've got Patterson at right back and Young at left back. We've got Tarkowski at centre back, and pairing with him is Branthwaite, and there is no sign of Keane on the bench. How do you feel about that? Well,
absolutely ecstatic. That man should never be near the first team ever again. But he will be, because we now have a shortage of centre halves.
And we've loaned Godfrey out, haven't we? Sorry, Holgate.
Yeah, we've loaned Holgate out. So we backup defenders are Godfrey and Keane.
Yes. There we go. That's exciting. I was just typing it out here. I've got it here. But yeah, we've got Garner and Onana. Idrissa Garner, Gay and Onana, I'm assuming, are more defensive. Garner's probably going to be on the right wing and Danjuma on the left, unless they do the old switcheroo. Decore might be sort of a backup man and getting forward behind our, I don't want to say lone striker, because he actually signed on a permanent, but our singular striker, Norberto Beto, who turned it on against Doncaster, yes, but this is against a team that are 72 positions lower, or 73, I suppose, now that we, due to no doing of our own, we're elevated on goal difference from 20th to 19th. Yeah, how are you feeling about that formation there? Are we missing Alex Iwobi?
You know what? No. I think he was injured anyway, wasn't he? But ultimately, if he wants to go, 22 million was good business for him. So, yes, you know, 10 months left on his contract or whatever. I think to get that, I was only expecting about 12, I'll be honest. You know what I mean? So to get an extra 10 mil on top, just purely because he only had 9-10 months left on his contract, I was expecting a lot less than 22 mil. So I'm happy with that. I'm not happy with the fact that we haven't brought anybody in to replace him. But I'm sure they were working hard. Or do you like to tell you they were all working hard?
Yes. And have you seen the well, sorry, I completely jumped ahead there. Yeah, absolutely. They I'm sure they were working hard, and let's not touch on that, because I realised that I went on a bit of a rant last night, which might have been justified, might have not been. Let's not. But yeah, it's good to, even if he's not worth that, if he's worth more, or if he's worth less than 22, then we got a good money's worth. But either way, the bottom line is it's better to have got something and do good business, as came up in the pre-match presser a couple of days ago, than to walk away on a free. Yeah, but the only trouble, the frustrating thing for me is that he's gone to a rival in Fulham. I wouldn't, that's the only thing. Like, maybe that's what the premium is for, the inflated price, because you see Brennan Johnson going to Spurs from Wolves. Okay, Wolves might not be on the same level as Spurs and people that some teams don't think about further down the league, but you've still got to play them. And 47.5 million seems like quite a lot of dollar bills, y'all.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long he had left on his contract, but he's a very, very good player. He's got pace to burn, and he's I think he's probably the other side of the nearer side of 25. He's probably about 20, 22, 23. So he's got a good few years left in him. So that's what that's what they've invested in. They've obviously seen. I was surprised Forest sold him actually, because he was probably their best player last year.
Yeah, but it's very difficult to pick a single face out of a crowd when it's like they're going on a bloody school field trip, isn't it? Nottingham Forest have got they need to hire 2 coaches now.
Well, they've got mad again, didn't they? Was it 6 signings or something on? Like, I kept waking up last night checking my phone because I thought, oh, we've got another Fellaini situation coming on here, and nothing. And all I kept getting on Twitter feed was Nottingham Forest have signed this player and Nottingham Forest have signed that player. I was like, bloody hell.
Is it just thinly veiled envy?
Not really, because if they carry on the way they do, or they are, they'll end up in the same situation that we are.
Yes.
They're a one-team club, a one-city club with not a massive fan base. So they can spend as much as they like bringing in players, but eventually that's got to dry up.
But interestingly enough, completely off topic and probably not interesting, although it's interesting to me, is it Nottingham or is it Leicester that's the quickest growing or the fastest growing urban area in the UK? I can't remember, but is it Nottingham or Leicester? Maybe someone will know in the comments.
No idea.
Anyway, shall I announce the Sheffield United team news?
Yes, please do.
For the Blades, this lunchtime, lining up, well, as is expected in goals, Fotheringham. Then we've got, what is it? Amarodzic, Egan and Robinson. And they're playing the usual 3. Oh, no, they're not playing the usual 3-4-3 unless I'm mistaking the lineups here. Sorry, I probably should have looked into it a little more. It looks like 3-5-2. Looks like they're trying to drown us out in midfield, which shows a certain amount of respect for us, because in midfield they've got Baldock, Souza, Norwood, Hamer, and Larucci.
What formation do you think they're playing, Jan?
Well, what Google seems to say,
3-5-2. Well, that's kind of
flattering.
Yeah, because they played that against City, and they only got beat 2-1. But yeah, it's kind of like a bit sort of baffling as to why they're playing that formation. Maybe they're as desperate for the points as what we are. Then they might be happy to walk away with the points as much as what we would.
Although, hang on, is Baldock? Hang on. He's a right back, so they're playing wing backs, aren't they? Sorry about that.
So are they playing 5 at the back then? 5-3-2.
Yeah, but they're playing wing backs, which suggests to me, if they're allowing their wing backs to go forward, that maybe it's not as flattering and they don't see us as having as much threat on the wings.
All right, Robbie, enjoy your wife's 60th, mate.
Yeah. Well, Scott's just said here, as of what I've said, but yeah, that probably allows them to push forward a bit more. I don't know. I get a bit confused by all these changes in formations. The teams that play the changes week in, week out. It's a bit. I know they've always played with a sort of a dynamic wing back, but yeah, that's what it is with. So Larucci's the left wing back, and Baldock's the right wing back. We've got Sousa and Hamer and Norwood, and McBurney and Archer. But Tom Davies is on the bench. But as you said, on our bench, well, we've got Lonergan and Virginia, and well, that's about it, really. I mean, McNeil.
McNeil.
Yeah. McNeil, as you said, is on the bench, and I don't think we're likely to see him play, barring because he's got an injury. Mikolenko apparently is just recovering from an injury or still got one. Godfrey and Onyango, and then we've got Chamiti, who might come on if Beto tires.
I mean, it's a pretty grim situation, isn't it? When you've got the likes of Onyango, he's been on the bench for the last 4 games, hasn't even got on the pitch. There's no Dobbin in there, no. Which again is baffling for me. Like, why have 2 goalkeepers on there unless Dobbin's injured? But there's been no mention of the fact that he was injured.
Yeah.
So,
but to be fair, I mean, as Peter said, we're talking about this. I was going to get onto it eventually, but Peter's just said Sheffield United's match game against Forest. Okay, they were unlucky in how they've set out to play. So the issue is now, how do we set out to play? I mean, we don't have a recognised wide player. Okay, so we might play Danjuma, or he might shift a bit more up front, and we might see Young and Patterson go forward, which then exposes us at the back.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're gonna target Patterson, aren't they, and Garner. That's not going to be rocket science, I don't think. We can all see that Garner seems to be out of his depth on the right, and Patterson, he needs. He could have done with a loan if he'd have had players available to slot him into his position, but he needs.
Yeah, but that's like saying if I had the money, I'd love to start the day with a nice big tomahawk steak, but it just ain't going to happen.
No, but there's a mistake in him, and that's the thing. Like, but he's the only player we've got available. We could have swapped him out and put Garner at right back, but then if he hasn't got Dobbin on the bench, then to me, if Dobbin's not on the bench, then he must be injured.
It might be that he's just not ready. I don't know. It might be that, yeah, like you say, it could be that he's not ready to play back-to-back games. But then, I don't know. I'm throwing stuff out there. Like, I'm trying to make sense of it. But I just don't see the point in having 2 goalkeepers on the bench.
Mr. Blue Sky is saying there he'd rather play Garner at right back and Patterson at right midfield. I'm not too sure about that, but
we do have Dobbin and McNeil available, as Peter said. They're just not available. Flash, the original, said he's outside Bramall Lane. Sorry, shouldn't assume pronouns in 2023. Flash could be a lady. Flash could be anything.
Them.
The robot, them. But they are outside Bramall Lane. Plenty of away buzz. Excellent. Lineup announced. Decore plays. McNeil on the bench. Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about this one. For Beto's performance the other night, okay, against Doncaster, compared to Chamiti's, it was night and day. McNeil's just coming back from injury, so you wouldn't be starting McNeil anyway.
Yeah, because he did. Dyche did say in the presser the other day that it's a case of getting some game time and working up to a start again for certain players, and I'm assuming that would be McNeil included in that. So it could be that second half, or God forbid, the last 5 or 10 minutes, should things not be going perfectly, or even if they are, I suppose we might see Mikalenko and McNeil coming on, and maybe even Chimiti to give Beto a rest. Who knows?
I personally don't think we're going to see McNeil. I think he's just being put in there because we've got nobody else to put on there.
Surely we've got more goalkeepers. Is it Billy Krellin or whatever his name is?
The thing is, right, is that we went from having one striker to having four strikers to now having back to three strikers because we've got rid of two. And you're like, only Everton could do that, couldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, like you say, we've had a glut of players in different positions. I don't know. I don't have any reasonable explanation that sort of goes into any detail other than that's Everton, that Wes.
It is 100%. The thing is now, right, is this game has become so important, but they seem to have this mental blockage going away from home.
Yeah, but look, okay, I know we're nowhere near the caliber of Man City, but it would be lovely today if we could see what did Sheffield United have last week? Was it 20% possession?
Yeah. But you'd expect that, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? Like, against Man City, there's not many teams out there that are going to have more possession than them.
I mean, fingers crossed.
We will. But possession doesn't score you goals.
No, but the more possession you've got, the less the other team have got it, the less opportunity they've got to score.
I think also the worrying part now is who's going to create.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so Garner has got James Garner, that is, has a bit of skill. And I do think he's got the ability. So does that mean that on the right, he's going to whip the balls in, get Patterson on the overlap, and him and Patterson are going to do something and play it round the sort of channel and get the balls in, and Ashley Young's going to play it in on the left? Is that what we're hoping to see?
Well, I suppose, I imagine that's the plan. But whether they can turn around and, take on that plan's a different matter. I mean, Garner threw a great ball in for Beto against Doncaster. Yeah. But apart from that, he seems to be out of his depth on the right. Personally, myself, I'd have played Dobbin and put Garner in the middle, or possibly in Decore's position, and because he's probably our most creative player, James Garner. So I think he's wasted out on the right.
Yeah, I know, and it boils down to that question again of, like some people are saying in the comments, do we want to see an under 21? Do we want to see a young player, or do we want an experienced player who knows what their job is, broadly speaking, anywhere on the pitch, but is just played out of position?
Well, I just think that when you've just got rid of Iwobi, who's being the most creative player for your team, to not have somebody in there that's going to create things, you're just relying on balls whipped into the box, and that might work. Could work today. Hopefully it does. But we need creativity in the midfield. Onana's not creative. Garner's not creative. So where's the creativity going to come from?
But Onana, and to a certain extent, Decore are geared towards being the type of player that from what we know of Decore and what we've seen of Onana at times, they do play good passes forward, and they have that sort of forward mindset to go forward through the, I wouldn't say through the middle, but who knows?
I don't know. What do you think Sheffield United's game plan's going to be?
Oh God, dogged football, hit us while we're down.
I think we could see a lot of long balls.
I mean, I don't know. I think they're gonna try and capitalise on overloading on the wings and trying to get it in.
Do you think so? Because I think if they do hoof it long, I think that we quite easy, cope with that. Branthwaite's like a giant, isn't he?
And Tarkovsky's, well, yeah, we've got a slightly taller team than we used to. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, just coming off that and talking about what do you think about this whole situation with Gbamin, Weetabix legs?
Well, who would have bought him?
Well, obviously nobody wanted it. That's blatantly obvious that nobody wants them, because I think they were offering them out at 5 million, which in this day and age buttons, but because of his injury record, nobody wants him.
I think the issue is, look, okay, not to be cynical here, so he might not have been much of an asset, but as a player on the books, he counts as an asset. So then you want to get some sort of value for that. If you're not going to get anything, then I suppose it's like being at the casino, isn't it? And sunk costs or chasing bets or whatever they say about healthy and responsible gambling. It's a sunk cost up to a certain point. So you don't want to go chasing a loss. What's the point in continuing to pay a wage when you can just say, look, lad, it's not working out. Just, go and do what you need to do. Goodbye. You've had a good payday off us for what, 4 years now?
But once again, it's another player which we shelled out. I can't remember how much we paid for him now.
20. Well,
but we shelled out, a decent bit of money for him, and he played about 30 seconds of football in 4 years. And he's like, once again, we haven't had a return on him. It's like, why when he was loaned out last season or whatever, why didn't Everton offer, get in there? I know it's up to the club that's loaning him as well, but why didn't he loan him out with the obligation to buy?
Because no one would obligated to buy someone.
Yeah, you get that nowadays.
Yeah, I know you can get that, but who'd accept that?
Well, that's or an option to buy even. Do you know what I mean? If he stays injury free, I can't even remember who he went out on loan to, but whoever it was, if he stayed injury free and was half decent for them, then they wouldn't have sent him back in the first place, and they'd have bought him and we'd have got a return on him. But once again, probably Everton again, sort of like, be on the heels all the time, and especially when it comes to stuff like that. He just seems so amateur when it comes to that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's not as if he's had a glittering career elsewhere. In 3 years, sorry, in 4 years at Lens, he made, well, God knows, no, even longer. I mean, in 3 years at Lens, he made 91 appearances, which seems okay. In the 3 years at Mainz, he had 86. I mean, he's made 6 appearances for us. Christ. Awful.
So also on the, talking about Gbamin going for nothing, what do you think about Damari Gray? Does he come back into the fold now, or are we gonna wait out for the next few days to see if Saudi club comes in for him, or are we that desperate for bodies now that we need to turn that move down and say we need him? Because he's obviously fallen out with the manager somewhere along the line, because he hasn't even been given the squad number.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably more based on the discussion that he maybe wanted to go. I don't know. Sometimes we're not as firm as we should be, because if it was I know there's swings and roundabouts. There's a downside to this, but I just said, look, Demi.
This guy.
Oh yeah, Katya Kuyata, yeah.
Yeah, quality. So why isn't he getting on the bench? You got
I don't know.
two goalies.
Look, if somebody wants out and they don't want to play, then fine. Turn to the young lads who do want to play, who've shown a determination and a hunger and a willingness, even if it's just self-serving, to get up and have a platform and go, look, here I am. I don't want to be at Everton, but I'm going to do my job. But then that's a lack of professionalism on things with Gray, because maybe it's a two-sided conversation. But what happened to? All right, Demi, you wanted to go. Nobody wanted to buy you. If somebody comes out from Saudi, then we'll have to seriously consider it. But look, if it's not over and above and we don't have a decent amount of money in the bank, you're going to have to wait till January. But you're here on a contract. You've got a job to do. Do your fucking job.
The thing is, if you look at the outgoings and incomings in this window, right? We're 21 million in credit. 21 million in credit.
Okay.
And we couldn't even put a deposit down of, say, 10 million. Like, what's going on?
But okay, so Stevie very kindly in our WhatsApp group, just for a reminder for all the viewers and for you, Wes, and also for me, just a reminder of what's going on. So we brought in Ashley Young as a free. We got Arno Danjuma on loan. Yusuf Chamiti we signed for 15 million. Jack Harrison again on loan. And Beto came in for 25, 26 million.
See, I thought Chamiti was bought for 12.9.
It might have been rising with extras and.
All right, okay.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so I'm not necessarily, a few million here and there for the purposes of this stream. We're not accountancy and auditing, but we've lost Alex Iwobi. Mason Holgate has gone out on loan. Niels and Kunku, Ellis Sims, Samuel Smith, Lewis Gibson, Isaac Price, Tom Davies, Azimir Begovic. Okay, fine, a goalie. But Yerry Mina, Andros Townsend, Stanley Mills, Harry Tyra, Lewis Warrington, Reese Welsh, Einar Iverson, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, Tom Cannon, and Neil Maupay. Now,
there's 15 players out
there that have gone out that I'm thinking, okay, their wages would have been negligible compared to Jean-Philippe Gbamin and some of the players that. Well, surely it would have been worth keeping hold of some of them. Some of them.
Well, I mean, you can't do nothing about the likes of Isaac Price, who wants to leave to go and get first team football. You can't do nothing about that. He was out of contract, or he hadn't even signed a contract. I don't know whether he'd been offered pro terms, but he wanted to leave. He'd had his head turned to go and play wherever he's gone. In Belgium, is it? Belgium, he's gone to play.
Standard Liège.
Yes, Isaac Price. You can't do much about that. But Iwobi didn't want to sign a contract. You can't do much about that. But what you can do is the money that you saved on wages and any fees that you've got in for them, you can reinvest in the team. Are we really that skint that we couldn't put it, at least a 10 million offer down for Nonto or whatever? But I don't know. We can go on and on about it.
The extra 5 million or something to really push it over the line.
Yeah, just to tempt them into actually selling them instead of us saying we're back in talks with them when that deal had already fell flat on its face and he'd apologised to the manager and whatnot. To then sort of like soft soap us and say we were going back in for him, like.
Well, Peter says Gray surely has to come back. We're going to need him because we need a few extra goals. Sean thinks we're a bit woeful that that with none coming in, if we get any more injuries, we're in a desperate position. Mr. Blue Skies, however, says, and I do agree, most of them are deadwood, Yann. Happy to see 95% of them go. Yes, absolutely. And there were times a few years ago when we had a clear out, and we were in a decent position because we had. Okay, I'm not going to talk about strength in depth, but we had some depth where we had covering. But again, to illustrate the point, okay, so Coleman's injured, and Dele Alli's injured, and DCL's injured. I get that, but
we've got nothing. Yeah, no. Like we did need to get rid of a lot of deadwood, but then you have to replace the deadwood. it's no good just to be getting rid of the dead wood, and then you rice paper thin.
So welcome to Yann and Wez's sustainable logging web chat.
But the thing is, there's still a lot of dead wood there.
It's yeah. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna. Is it right? Is the game on BT or Sky? We're not doing a watch along because
it's on TNT.
Oh God,
which is
so
BT.
what? It's going to be dynamite, is it?
Hey, boom! I'm here all week.
I bloody hope not. I did 4 hours last night.
I wasn't far behind you. But have you got score predictions for today, Yann? And all the viewers, and score predictions?
Negative goals.
You predict negative goals?
Is that possible?
Well, of course it's possible because we're 0-0.
I mean, I just think that it's getting to that sort of, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna. Who knows?
Mr. Blue Sky's going for the 3-1 for the Blues. I think it'd be tighter than that. I think it'd be 1-0.
You think it'll be 3-1?
Mr. Blue Skies thinks it's 3-1, or it's going to be 3-1.
You know what? I want to say, okay, Kevin's gone for 3-1.
Ooh, seems a very, very popular scoreline. I'm loving the confidence. Beto hat-trick. Boom. I think he's going to cause them issues though, majorly, because he is rapid. Morning, Wormy. Oh, Peter Dunn going for Sheffield United 2-0.
Oh dear.
I think Peter's just saying that because he wants Dice sacked. Take care, Peter. Chris Rice, Everton 2-1. Peter's changed his mind and gone for 2. Is that for the Blues or for Sheffield, Peter?
Oh no, Peter said 2-0 originally to Sheffield United. He said maybe 2-1.
Oh.
Oh.
Peter's not feeling very confident, is he?
No, he's not. I mean, I don't know whether I'm feeling that confident, to be fair, Wez.
Gary Smith's not making any predictions.
No.
You know what?
I mean,
I'll settle for a 1-0 scrappy, the scrappiest goal you'll ever see, and walk away with 3 points.
Would you rather score an early goal and hold on, or would you prefer to be dominant and get a goal sort of middle of the second half?
I'd prefer us to actually, absolutely steamroller them like we did against Brighton. But at the moment, you've got a team that's got a load of new faces in it that are trying to gel together. So you can't expect great things from them at the minute. But I expect us to win.
Tom
The
Davies,
pressure's on them. Pressure's on them 100%. They're pointless in their own.
Yeah. But do you not think that we're being viewed as a scalp?
Well, obviously they'll be looking at us as one of their rivals for the relegation places. The same as what we've been doing. We're looking at the Sheffield Uniteds and the Lutons and the Wolves and whatever as our rivals for the relegation spots. I suppose it's not nice saying that, but that's the reality of the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, what we need to see is that Sheffield United have struggled for possession, even playing the lineup that they've got, which has been to sort of counter a gap in quality between them and their opponents. They've got Phil Jagielka.
Sheffield United, have they? Is he on the coaching staff? Is he?
No, he's. I assumed so, but no, he's doing some media stuff. I'm not having the audio here because I don't want to fall foul of us getting banned on YouTube or.
Kevin said, if we win, he'll shave his beard off.
I am not going to make that similar thing because if I shave my beard off, I look about 5 or 10 years younger.
Kevin, that beard's coming off, son.
Right. Many years ago, it was wonderful. My dad had a bet that if we beat Liverpool in the derby, and we did, he'd shave his moustache off, which he'd had for about 20 years. And they did it in an upstairs room of the Winslow and had loads of people on like Grand Old Team or Blue Kipper or whatever it was. And it was just an excuse for a piss up, really.
Like you need one.
Yeah, they got him in a chair and there's this ceremony. There's loads of photographs of him getting his moustache shaved off. Bless him.
Lovely.
Oh,
did he look like a 70s porn star?
I'd rather not think of my dad in that context, Wes.
I don't know, people with sashes that like they remind me of that, like a plumber who doesn't know how to fix a washing machine.
I've come to fix your pipes. Yeah. To be fair, at one point my dad did look a bit like Anil Kapoor. You know the guy who plays the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in Slumdog Millionaire, the guy who
does the
current role. Yeah. It was a bit unusual. Yeah. Anyway, right. Score prediction. Wow.
What are you going for, Yann? Would you happy to get out? Would you happy? Anybody out there? Would you be happy to walk away with the point?
No, we need points.
Points are points.
Yeah, but look, we should have got some points from the game against Wolves, and not only did we not get a point, but we didn't. We walked away with nothing at home. Okay, you can dissect it, and we have done all you want. We should have had a point from the Fulham game, but no. If we don't get 3 points, it's up the proverbial alley without a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, we've got some tough games coming up after the international break, and I think for us, the international break's going to come at the right time to get players back. You know what I mean? But everybody's saying they wouldn't be happy with the draw. I wouldn't be happy with the draw, but a point on the board is better than none.
Yeah, but okay, but about that same logic, but 3 points is better than 1. It's like
yeah, but it's an away game against our rival.
Yeah, which means I want to see us take 3 points.
No, I want the 3 points. 100%, I want the 3 points. But if we walk away from there with a draw, I'm not going to be, overly pissed off about it. If we absolutely batter them and walk away with a point, that'd be a different matter.
I mean, people are again talking about Dyke being on thin ice, as Chris has said. Better score and not lose. Dyke goes on thinner ice.
Well, I mean, talking to Peter Duggan last night on the phone and I asked the question, how long do you give him? And Peter, obviously not being the biggest fan of Sean Dyche, that if we don't win today, he wants to see him gone. That's not going to happen. If we don't win today, Sean Dyche is not going to be sacked. I think he's going to get a minimum of 10 games, and if it's looking bad, which is pretty much what Lampard. I think Lampard got 10 games, didn't he, or something? Benitez got 10 games, or 10 losses on the bounce, or something daft. But I think that's what he'll get, because I think Mashiri is done with sacking managers willy-nilly. Because we haven't got the money to keep giving them compensation for sacking them. We've just made 21 million it's by selling players. Are we going to sack a manager and pay him 10 million of that for not doing his job? It's got to be the only, and it's got to
Again, with
be the
Everton,
only. Sorry, Jan, go on.
no, but again, with everything that Everton have done lately, it's like cutting your nose off to spite your face, like sacking a manager, choosing not to, and perpetuate. I'm just talking academic, hypothetically here. Choosing not to sack a manager that's not doing the job done to avoid getting the payout, the contract payout, to continue on a downward spiral rather than pay it and go up. It's the same as, like, we've been in this situation. What are we selling players and not getting anyone in despite a net in positive on the transfer dealings, just to prove to the league, hey, we're trying to sort our finances out? I mean, well,
to me, it's one of them. No, we're already being investigated, right? So
yeah, but not. We were already
if we're trying
working
to,
in
what are we
confined.
trying to prove to them? What are we trying to prove to them? The only thing you're doing is alienating the fans. Well, it's one of them. Like these managers, right? The likes of Dyche and all that, and the Sam Allardyces of this world, they don't care about your football club. They come in and they get sacked. It's got to be the only jobs in the world. If you don't perform well, get a big lump of money for not doing your job properly.
Yeah, there should be clauses. Essentially, there should be clauses. If you lose X number of games in a row, or this is your points coefficient, or from within a certain point of the season, we need some guarantee of performance in the job. If you don't meet it, then we can terminate the contract with immediate effect and no repercussions. But that's what it really should be.
It's like when Ancelotti was at Everton, right? He came
Yeah.
into Everton, and with the team that he had, he done okay. But the person that he is and the reputation that he's got, his reputation was on the line at Everton. Sean Dyche's reputation isn't on the line at Everton. He's got no reputation. Do you know what I mean? He's a reputation where he's always been at struggling clubs. Frank Lampard was the same. No, he had no reputation.
I mean, if we can finish above 16th, then I would be amazed.
I think, like I said, I keep saying it. I think we get the injuries back. We have, on paper, we'll have a stronger team. On the pitch, I feel we might not have a stronger squad. I can't disagree with you, Emma. You know what I mean?
I know.
I think that's he's trying to recoup as much money as he can back before he sells once the stadium's built. So I can't disagree with that.
That's what I'm saying, George. We don't have a stronger team than 15 teams. If we finish,
once we get our injuries back, we are on the pitch. We'll be stronger as a squad, like a full 23 or at the moment 15. We're not stronger. A gremlin in there.
Okay. I think that's. I think it might have been something checking for the Russian billionaire comment that Rod just said there. God knows we're being watched by Moscow. Who knows?
Yeah, the KGB are all over it.
KGB.
Right, so most people are being positive and saying we're going to win. There's a few people that saying we're going to get beat.
Yeah, but I think that's the Everton disease, isn't it? Look, you flip between absolutely unfounded and hopeless optimism, and then depressive realism.
Mr. Blue Skies says he wants Dyche to stay and turn this around. Can't keep sacking managers. Still
what I
has the
want.
time. Well, everybody wants that, and we all want the managers to succeed. You know, nobody wants to see them fail, but at the same time, you know, if things go awry and he loses 7, 8 out the next 10 games, then his position's got to be untenable, hasn't it? Surely.
I just, I don't know. I mean, there's part of me wants to say that we'll be galvanised and Danjuma and Beto will be on fire and Ashley Young will have a blinder like as if he's 10 years younger, and suddenly we'll be 5 or 6 goals up. We'll get a 0 goal difference in the league. We'll get 3 points and we'll rise up to what, 15th? Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, it was only against Doncaster the other night, but I've seen little shoots of a partnership with Danjuma and Beto the other day. You know what I mean? So hopefully they've worked on that this week in training, and we can establish some sort of partnership. But then, if McNeil's fit, do you swap Danjuma out for McNeil?
No,
Lose that?
no. That's what I'm saying. I'd be tempted to swap out somebody like, you know, potentially have a bit of a rotating squad, see who's fit and up for it, but definitely play McNeil, but swap out somebody like Decore if we're going to play more wing style football. Garner, or shift Garner in the middle and get and Idrissa Garner Gay can come out of the squad because sometimes he's a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, but would you if McNeil was fully fit? We all know Sean Dyche likes them to be amazingly fit, where they could outrun Superman. Would you have him on the right and play him out of position where people are complaining about him playing players out of position?
Yeah, but again, we're saying it. And B Tunes, who did just say about this, you know, I did notice a comment a couple of minutes ago. Why are we not playing Gray on the wings, which suggests to me, or that Dyche won't play him on the wings, which suggests to me, you know, does that mean a move to Saudis in the offing?
Well, for one, he hasn't even got a squad number yet, so he couldn't pick him today anyway, because you've got to let the league know what squad number he's going to be. So it seems to me that they're possibly waiting for the Saudis to come in and offer us a deal at 250 million. and it'd be on 300 million pounds a week. George is right there. Selling Gray is criminal, with also selling Iwobi. I agree. We're so thin on the ground, players. We cannot sell Demarai Gray. I think it'd be absolutely suicidal to sell him.
Well, on that note,
let's go and watch the game. Come on, you blue
yes,
boys.
we're not doing a watch long. Thank you very much for joining us. Merely hours after our long marathon last night. It is T-6 minutes to kick off at Bramall Lane.
Like and subscribe, and thanks all for watching. Is there going to be a post-match, you think? Anybody out there that's going to do it? I don't mind doing it, but there's not many people putting their hands up these days to say they'll get involved.
If I'm honest, if I'm being entirely honest, if it's a win, I'd love to come on. If it's a loss, I'm just going to go walk the dog and pretend like Everton don't exist.
You know what? At the end of the day, you have to take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be so bad if there was at least some small,
smooth,
minute sort of modicum of smooth at some point. When you say, "Oh, take the rough with the smooth," yes, just a little bit of smooth rather than this constant, like, scrotum searing journey down a fucking water slide of sandpaper.
We've got to we've got to beat these because they play in red and white. So that's enough said.
Yes. So anyway, thanks, Chris. Thanks, George.
Thanks, lads and
Thanks,
ladies.
Kevin.
Possibly see you on the post-match.
Look, I'd rather not relive my nightmare from last night. Okay, so yeah.
Right, have a good one. Up the Toffees.
Indeed, up the Toffees.
See you after, Yann.
See you after.
Right.
Ta-ra.